Hi guys, and welcome to my speeded up version of my real-time tutorial over on Patreon. So this is a speeded up version of what I have over on my Patreon, where I will go into a lot more depth into my tutorial videos. But for now, please enjoy this video. This is a hedgehog in soft pastel pencils. He's a cute little guy and very popular, so I decided to make him into a tutorial video. So as always, I've done the eyes first. I started with the black. I left some white highlight in there, and I also used a bit of blue so that we can get the eyes looking lovely, and they will help us draw the rest of the animal. I always like to do the eyes and the nose first because those are the bits that can go wrong. And if they do go wrong, it kind of ruins the picture. The eyes and the nose are the sort of soul of the animal. So I'm using all the different colours that I can see in this picture. Obviously, over on Patreon, I have a full list of all the materials needed. I have the PDF that you can download that tells you everything about what I'm using. You can also have the line art and also the reference picture. So you can draw along in real time and pause it, rewind it, along with access to all of my other tutorials. And I put probably about two, sometimes three, sometimes more new tutorials on every week. You also have access to me where I can help you in direct messages, and I will also have access to the online community, which is just for Patreon members. So if you are interested in learning to draw in pastels, take a look, and I appreciate everybody who signs up. And if you're unsure about anything, just ask a question. I also have a free ebook over on my website. So if you want to have a look at the link in the description to both my Patreon and my website, please feel free to do so. So I've got to draw the log here, so I've just used some soft pastels. I've drawn in a few of the darker browns, greens and whites, and I've smoothed them all together to get some form of a resemblance of a log. Here I'm just here I'm just going to be blocking in the undercolors. So this is obviously the ears. So we've got some browns and a little bit of dark, a little bit of red, and we're going to put in a bit of purple, and that will, and a little bit of blue here. This will blend together. Try and get the color of those ears right because those will be covered with the foreground fur that goes over the ears and over the rest of the hedgehog. So this is the thing with this hedgehog, is that when you're drawing it, and the same with all animals, you've got to think of what fur goes over the top of the other fur. Even sometimes the background fur will go over the foreground. So we're using a brown here, and we're just going to start pushing the pencil upwards to get these spike effects so that you get the thickest part of um, the spike at the bottom, and it goes up into a spike. I'm using browns, I'm using some black. This is a pink. I'm using a little bit of purple. And then I'm using a thin blending stamp, and I'm just going to blend all those together, pushing upwards in the direction of the spikes. This effectively will help keep the shape of the spike, but it also fills in all of that pastel matte paper, that white in between. I'm using the blending stamps just to do that, and then I can start using my white pencil. And what this is doing is I'm putting in white spikes, but these I'm trying to push along the same kind of line as some of those other spikes, which pushes the pastel along, mixes it together, and gives you that sort of colour that we're looking for in the spikes, where they're slightly different colours and they point off to a point which is much lighter. And because we're using a white background, it helps push some of that white with the other pastel and gives you that colour that will show up on the background, although I am using a dark grey also because we're using a white background here, just to add those spikes a little bit. Doing a few different spikes with the white that go off in the different directions, and then I'm filling in the darker areas again with the black. Just bring in these spikes in a little bit. And now I can see that there's a lot of purple in this reference picture where the lights hit this little character. So he's quite a colourful character. So we're going to put in our purples, just blocking it in. And we'll use the blending stamp. It doesn't matter if the blending stamp's a little bit dirty because that gives us something to put the white pastel on. And again, we're doing the bits that are covered over with fur first. So although this is sort of underneath here, we want to put some fur over the top of it. Again, we're putting in some of these reds. And blues. There's a lot of white fur here, but you can't draw white fur on white paper, so you have to have something to contrast that with. And when you blend, you're pushing that pastel into the paper so that you can add more layers on top. So if you are liking this video or enjoying this video, please like it. Please subscribe to the channel to see more. It does help me produce more of these free videos. We've got some very fine hairs in the ear here. So I'm just scratching those in very lightly, very light pressure with the weight of the pencil rather than any actual pressure here. And then we can push harder when we want the thicker, whiter fur. You can make adjustments as we go along. And we're just putting in our white fur now, darkening up any areas that need to be redarkened. And then re-highlighting any areas that need a little bit more highlight. You can then put in some of these longer whiskers and wisps of fur. Highlight the nose, make it a little bit shiny. And then we want to put in these nice little whiskers. And there we are. So if you're still watching this, please give me a like and subscribe, and please take a look at my Patreon, and I'll see you in the next video.